The next day, we departed by bus to Hue, which is the traditional capital city for a long time in Vietnam. So it was raining, the weather wasn't very good, but on the way we stopped at the Museum of Chain that was built from the 4th to the 14th century. It was in the middle of Vietnam, and it reflects some of the cultures of all of these tribes that formed Vietnam before the unification. The museum was very interesting in the context, and we saw a lot of elements of their culture, but the museum needed a little bit of help because it was a bit run down, the lighting wasn't very good, but we tried to enjoy it anyhow. The south of Vietnam, which is the Mekong Delta, which is the most fertile part of Vietnam, was for a long time part of Cambodia. And the Vietnamese took it over, and now they get most of their rice, which is the main food from that area. On our way to the hotel or downtown Hue, we stopped to look at some fishermen that arrived with all their catch of the day, and we saw many people buying the food for their homes or their restaurants. It was a very colorful environment and very typical of the Vietnamese exchange. They are born commerce people. They love to buy and sell, and they do it very, very well. We also had an opportunity to look at the trains. The trains were done by the French, and I think nothing has been done to them since the French left so many decades ago. Was in the middle of the downtown area, built by the French back in 1901. It was very pleasant, the rooms were very large, and it was kind of a nice change from the other contemporary hotels. The climate was very, very hot and very humid. The air conditioning wasn't that great. Elements in Hue is the Imperial Palace, which reminded me of the Forbidden City. This was built in 1890 to 1945, and it was destroyed during the war, and it's been slowly being rebuilt. I think it was interesting to see and be able to compare with the Imperial City that we had not seen too long ago, to see that they still have some work to do. Busy taxi to go for dinner, and it was a fantastic experience because there were all of us, 20-some people in busy taxis going in the middle of this very busy, like all cities are, downtown area with all the motor scooters zooming around. It was about a half an hour drive to the restaurant. But we really enjoyed it, and Luis took hundreds of videos because he loves to see all these bicycles, motorcycles running around.
Yếu quá. Gretin. Hey.
We ate in a restaurant, very typical restaurant, Vietnamese food, and we were entertained by singers. The music is a little monotonous for us, somewhat similar to the language, which is very cacophonic. In other words, you speak a language with accents in different parts of the words to make the different meanings of the same word. We took another boat ride to see a pagoda. It is always interesting to see that in every opportunity that we were in a boat, somebody was trying to sell us something. And of course, our group was buying it. So they made business all the time. The reason for the boat ride was to go and visit a pagoda that was rebuilt later on. It was originally done in 1901, and it is for a person called Thi Quan that in 1963 drove his car in Austin in Saigon, sat in the lotus position, and burned himself because of discrimination towards the Buddhists. Today, the pagoda is in hue, and we saw some of the monks that have the hair cut and with just a strand of hair on the site.
They take those straight to the market, sell them, take them straight to the market and sell them to us. Just like that.
Visited several other temples and pagodas, but the group was ready to go back to the hotel and relax for a bit. We really had seen so many temples and pagodas that after a little while they became very similar, despite the fact that each one has its own very interesting history. That evening, we had an opportunity to walk a little bit around Hugh, especially around the hotel, where they're close to the river. They had a market selling again all kinds of things, clothing, ceramics, etc.